that you are all doing well. Thank you so much for joining me here today, where we're going to talk about my second book for December, and that book is As Good as Dead by Holly Jackson. And this is the third and final book in the A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series. Pip has solved multiple unsolved crimes, almost put a predator behind bars, and is the host of a true crime podcast, A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. She's accomplished all of this before even starting college. But the events that took place in the second book have taken their toll on Pip, and she is struggling with some issues of her own, which has pushed her character into a morally gray area. What are Pip's plans for the summer? Spending more time with her family and friends, including her boyfriend Ravi, before heading off to college in the fall. She also needs to decide which case she is going to focus on for her third season of the podcast. Then she is troubled by a series of odd occurrences. An anonymous poster occasionally asks, "Who will look for you when you disappear?" She's been getting phone calls that when she answers, there's nobody there. And she doesn't think much about these things until she notices headless stick figures drawn on her sidewalk. Is something going on, or is her stress causing her to read too much into it? When she starts looking into the DT killer case, she believes the man imprisoned for the crime is not the responsible one. But Pip will need to be careful, or she just may become another victim. This book was very different than the first two books of the series. Pip wanders into a morally gray area, and some of her readers may wish that she hadn't. But the thing I appreciate about morally gray characters is that they cause us to examine our beliefs and the boundaries of our personal and moral ideas. What are some other books to read for similar experience? Not necessarily mysteries or thrillers, but books where characters wander into morally gray areas. Some Kind of Animal by Maria Romasco-Moore. And it is also a YA contemporary mystery thriller. Jo lives in the same tiny town where her mother disappeared 15 years ago. And everyone knows what happened to her. She was wild, and bad things happen to girls who are wild. Jo is becoming just like her mother. But Jo has a secret, and not the secret everyone thinks. Jo has a twin sister, and her sister is like nobody else. She lives on her own in the woods, and Jo sneaks out at night to run fearlessly through the woods with her sister. No one else has ever seen Jo's sister. So when Jo's sister attacks a boy from town, everyone thinks that Jo is responsible. And now she has a decision to make: to betray her sister or to run. Mayhem by Estelle, Laure, which is YA historical fantasy. The year is 1987, and Mayhem and her mother are headed to the town where Mayhem was born and lived her first years, the town where her father died. Mayhem sees a chance to get answers to all of her questions about her extended family and her early life. But there's more going on than Mayhem realizes, and no one is filling her in. Girls are disappearing from the beach, and Mayhem is drawn to the search for whoever is responsible. When her life takes a dangerous turn, she is forced to confront the cost of vigilante justice and discover for herself whether revenge is worth the cost. We Were Liars by Lockhart, which is YA contemporary fiction. And the liars of the title are four friends, three of whom are cousins. And all four of them spend their summers on an island owned by the cousins' family. But something happened the previous summer, and no one will tell Cadence what it was. In fact, her friends have not been responding to her emails. So she is excited to get back to the island during the summer, Meet up with the others and discover what she cannot remember and no one will tell her. Ghostwood Song by Erica Waters, which is YA contemporary fantasy with a bit of a mystery. Shady Grove loves music and learned to play the fiddle from her father when she was really young. Her father could call ghosts from their grave with his fiddle. A fiddle that brings nothing but darkness, which is why her brother threw the fiddle into the lake after their father's death. Her mother has since married Jim. Jim is hard to live with, especially for Shady's brother, Jesse. Jim and Jesse argue all the time. When Jim is found dead and Jesse is accused of killing him, Shady knows what she must do. She decides to retrieve her father's fiddle and use it to raise Jim from the dead. Then she can ask him what happened and clear Jesse. But all does not go to plan. And in the process, Shady will uncover deep family secrets and discover herself. And there we are. I hope that you enjoyed this review, and if you are interested in books with morally great characters, that you give one or all of these books a read. I'll be back with a couple more videos this week. We've got an explore video coming up and a short create video, so stay tuned for those. And I'll also see you next week when we will have our final regular read for December, Legend Born by Tracy Dion. I have started Legend Born and I'm really enjoying it so far, so let's see how it finishes up and I'll be back to tell you about it. Until I see you again, I hope that you enjoy the beauties of December and that you enjoy whatever you read. Thank you.